Although the Quran asserts Muhammad's fallibilities, sins, and errors as an ordinary human being, albeit as a messenger of Allah, his followers have created the myth of his sinlessness called Isma, in similitude to that of Jesus. What are the facts and the fictions?
It is with great regret that I have to remind our listeners repeatedly, every single time that they or you ask a question, that what they have read in the Quran and Hadiths or heard from the followers of Muhammad are lies, deceptions, mendacities, and illusions. I have no choice but to do so, since they truly are what I label them to be. Here also, what the followers of Muhammad have concocted regarding his character are pure myths that have been repeated by them for so many centuries that they now actually believe them to be true. The perpetrators of the deception have become its foremost victims. In Alfred Guillaume's translation of Sirat Rasulullah by Ibn Ishaq, pages 71 to 72, there is a tradition that when Muhammad was a little child, 2 to 3 years old, Halima, his foster mother, was informed by Muhammad that 2 men in white raiment came to me with a gold basin full of snow, who opened up my belly, extracted my heart and split it. Then they extracted a leech, cloth, alaqa, from it, and threw it away. Then they washed my heart and belly with that snow until they had thoroughly cleaned them. It is beyond belief to assume that a child of that age was alone tending flocks of animals who knew about snow in the unforgiving heat of the Arabian desert, as well as about leeches in waterless Arabia. What the story actually informs us is that the surgery removed Muhammad's sins at the age of 2 or 3. I would like to point out to our listeners the fact that Muhammad used the same term alaq once again later on as the source of human creation in the first allegedly revealed verse in the Quran, as in Surah Al-Alaq 96.1. Proclaim or read, "In the name of thy Lord and Cherisher who created man out of a mere clot of congealed blood." Alaq. In Arabic, اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق. This is obviously contrary to the biblical story of the creation. Sahih al-Bukhari Hadith 4.770, narrated by Sharik bin Abdullah bin Abi Namr. I heard Anas bin Malik telling us about the night when the Prophet was made to travel from the Kaaba mosque. 3 persons came to the Prophet before he was divinely inspired as an apostle, while he was sleeping in al-Masjid al-Haram. The first said, "Which of them is he?" The second said, "He is the best of them." That was all that happened then, and he did not see them till they came at another night, and he perceived their presence with his heart. For the eyes of the Prophet were closed when he was asleep, but his heart was not asleep. This is characteristics of all the prophets. Their eyes sleep, but their hearts do not sleep. Then Gabriel took charge of the Prophet and ascended along with him to the heavens. In the Muhammadan traditions, it is the heart which contains the human consciousness and not the brain. Sahih al-Bukhari Hadith 4.429, narrated by Malik bin Sa'za. The Prophet said, "While I was at the house in a state midway between sleep and awakefulness, an angel recognized me as the man lying between 2 men. A golden tray full of wisdom and belief was brought to me, and my body was cut open from the throat to the lower part of the abdomen. Then my abdomen was washed with Zamzam water, and my heart was filled with wisdom and belief." According to Muhammad, wisdom and belief are physical and not intellectual or spiritual. Once again, at the age of about 50 years, Muhammad needed another physical, spiritual, and intellectual cleansing to remove his sins and unbelief. The inquisitive listener should wonder at the expression, "as the man lying between 2 men." Why was Muhammad, who already had several wives, be sleeping in the mosque and not his own home, lying between 2 men? The answer to this question took me a very long time to figure out. Muhammad never missed a chance at emulating any biblical story regarding a prophet, this time from the New Testament, about Jesus who was crucified between 2 men. Muhammad needed surgery once more to remove his sins from his body and not from his brain. Bukhari Hadith 5.227, narrated by Abbas bin Malik. Malik bin Sa'sa' said that Allah's Apostle described to them his night journey, saying, "While I was lying in Al-Hatim or Al-Hajr, suddenly someone came to me and cut my body open from here to here. I asked the Jarud, who was by my side, 'What does he mean?' He said, 'It means from his throat to his pubic area.' The Prophet further said, 'He then took out my heart. Then a gold tray of belief was brought to me, and my heart was washed and was filled with belief, and then returned to its original place. Then a white animal, which was smaller than a mule and bigger than a donkey, was brought to me.' The Prophet said, 'The animal's step was so wide that it reached the furthest point within the reach of the animal's sight. I was carried on it, and Gabriel set out with me till we reached the nearest heaven.' The traditions that Muhammad needed 2 or 3 surgeries to have his body operated upon and filled with belief is astounding in its implications. Ladies and gentlemen, believers and unbelievers, why should the most perfect of men need to have himself scourged from unbelief several times in his lifetime is beyond comprehension. On the contrary, this shows that Muhammad was sinful and repeatedly so, failing in belief. In conclusion, the hadiths above, which contradict each other, completely and utterly destroy, demolish and contradict all of Muhammad's followers' assertions that he was sinless in their dogma of Isma'. Furthermore, our listeners should appreciate the enormous implications of these stories, since they were made by Muhammad's own followers and not by his enemies.